Good evening. I'm going to call the Columbia County Board of Commissioners January 17th, 2023 meeting to order. Commissioner Merlier, if she'll open us with invocation.
Happy to. You'll bow your heads with me, please. Lord, thank you so much for the rain that we have today. Thank you for the folks who are gathered here today. Thank you for the rights we have, including the right to assemble and to govern ourselves. Be with us today as we go through this agenda and address the issues before us. Some of these votes and issues are tough and difficult, but help us to make our decisions and our votes in fairness and in truth. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show we have a full quorum of commissioners. Commissioners, you have the minutes from the January 3rd meeting in your packet. If they meet with your approval, I'll accept the motion to do so.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
A second.
Questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Johnson, any changes? Are we good?
Not to my knowledge, Mr. Chairman. I believe it's ready for your approval.
Have no special recognition, so we'll go straight to our consent agenda. Commissioners, you have the items on the consent agenda. They've been through the necessary committees and received the necessary votes to be placed on.
Move to approve.
So if you still agree, I'll accept that motion to approve. Second?
Second.
Okay, raise your right hand. Approved. On to the debate agenda. First item, I believe, Commissioner Richardson, you have that?
I make a motion to approve the first reading of resolutions 22-41, Highland Lake, Section 1C, 22-42, River Island, Section 3, Phase 2, B3, 22-43, Somerset at Williamsburg, Phase 8, 22-44, River Oaks, Phase 2, 22-45, Tillery Park A, 22-46, Tillery Park 1B, 22-47, Crawford Creek, Section 10, to establish street light districts and authorization for Georgia Power to proceed with installation per their.
We have 7 streetlight districts that are up for your consideration. We have held a public hearing for these streetlight districts. 6 of them are developer requested districts. 1 is a citizens requested district.
Questions? Motion and second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Agrees.
Make a motion to approve resolution 23-01.
This is the resolution regarding abandoning and surplusing a portion of John Deere Parkway. Do you have any other? This is something we've been working on for quite a bit of time now, several years in fact. However, we've recently been able to make some headway on this. We have held a public hearing about this abandonment of this parkway. The purpose of the abandonment would be allow John Deere to make some improvements along the roadway to help with their truck traffic, their employee traffic. It kind of difficult for them to manage their truck traffic without this process happening. We do have Gateway Boulevard is now open to assist with this traffic movement from Wrightsboro Road over to Horizon South, as well as currently we'll be widening we are in the process of getting started on the widening of Horizon South Parkway as well. So we will have some improvements to traffic out there on the way. Be happy to answer any questions. John Deere is here. If you have any questions for John Deere, without having a map on there, it's kind of hard for me to point and click and show you things. But the next step, if this resolution is approved, is getting all of our title work and our valuations done for the value of the land. I'm looking for probably June, July, when we would come back for the actual sale of the property if or to approve this.
Any other questions? Motion and second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. On to you.
One, make a motion to major PUD revision for property located parcel 1698, subject to conditions enumerated. 2023.
Second.
This is a request to modify this PUD. This land is currently zoned for assisted living. They're requesting to go back to single-family residential. You'll see the layout proposed here. It shows 26 lots, however, several of those lots will be divided administratively into 4 lots. So for instance, Lot 1 there would turn into eventually to this. That can be done administratively without coming back through commission. They'll do that as they get into plan design. Patrice, if you go back to the red line, you can stay there.
Well, I think
Go there. So one of the things required for mass grading is a 50-foot buffer. One of the conditions you have listed says that the walking trail, so this hatched out area that we own, that we're showing here, that is all walking trail owned by Columbia County. One of the conditions states that the 30-foot of property there can count towards that 50-foot buffer, so therefore there will be a 20-foot buffer from the back of the properties to the walking trail property. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Want to make sure y'all understood that before you took any action on this. So it's one of the big ones there. These hammerheads will be required to be no parking, just to prevent somebody parking there and preventing a school bus or a fire truck from being able to turn around. So those will have to be posted as no parking. Happy to answer any questions you may have about this one.
The buffer on Laurel,
On Laurel,
yes.
not a 50-foot mass buffer, but you can see there is area here and in here where there is a buffer. The property lines do not go all the way out. However, we do not have their actual grading plans at this point, the concept, so don't know exactly what it would look like.
There were sidewalks that were going down Laurel.
Correct. So the developer did tell us that they would tie a sidewalk into our greenway trail, our greenway trail, as well as tie in down to Sunbury. Yeah, I stopped a little short. There's a sidewalk in Sunbury over here that will tie to that as well.
That in the been approved?
It is in the documents that are provided in this thing. There's actually an answer from the developer stating they would tie those together.
On the drainage question, did you have a chance to look at that on? Are
I
they tying
did
it
not.
all into our storm system, or are they?
Yeah, I have not seen anything showing where their actual detention would be. I'm not sure. Do y'all have that designed yet, your detention designed yet? Please do.
Will Dozier, represent Nucci Creek Investors. What we're going to plan to do during plan and design is we would tie stormwater all the way down to a ditch that connects to a pond that we've already engineered with Bartram Trail and have Army Corps of Engineer approval to dump that stormwater into that system. So hydrologically, it's already approved to accept all the stormwater runoff. What we're requesting is the pipe that the county will own at a later date when we deed over to them, is to run that down county property, which is bordering the back of Sunbury and a portion of Patriots Park. It's right there on the border of the line between Sunbury and Patriots Park.
Currently on that pond, Matt, where the stormwater's going into?
I'm not sure which pond.
You do not. This is the large pond at Bartram Trail at the golf course.
Okay.
And that pond was specifically designed for this subdivision to retain its stormwater.
Questions? Thank you. Motion and second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. I believe on the next item, 2 folks want to speak. We'll start with Mr. Keith Lawrence. We will just state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Keith Lawrence, 211 Dixon Court, Evans, Georgia, 38009. Thank you all for your time and consideration of this. We had a meeting with a large group of the residents and are requesting to modify this, which will take us back, the plan, it will take the concept plan back. But what we would like to do is, as part of the conditions, because it's what I've kind of explained to them we're going to do, we're going to have a 100-foot buffer. Can I draw on this one? Okay, right up in the front here. Okay, that's all right.
100-foot buffer would be in this area here.
Yep. And then there'll be a single loaded road, which will make the lots deeper, and there'll be a reduction of 7 lots. So we're going to request a condition placed on us that we'll have 15 lots max in the R1 zoning, 100-foot buffer off the front. And then we've been working with Mr. Anderson along his property line, which is, he's the kind of the northeast corner up there. We're going to put 3 to 4 inch caliper trees spaced at 40 feet directly behind his lot, and then a fence as well will go across the entire north boundary on there. There'll be a 25-foot buffer on the south side. And trying to work, we worked out a compromise, I think, that the residents were looking for. I think the ideally is, like I was talking to one of them today, Rob told me ideally it would just be a pasture forever, but I think that this is a good compromise between the two, and it'll still maintain the character of what you have existing on Louisville Road. So just wanted to mention that. Any
No
questions?
street lights, no clubhouse, no
No
party
streetlights, no
barn.
clubhouse. That was a question they asked on the street. I had never done one without streetlights, but Gary seemed to think we can do it without it. But now that doesn't mean that the residents can't come back in
Correct.
on that side. But yeah. Thank y'all. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Keith. Sir Dan Lanning. Dan, just state your name and address for the record, please.
Dan Lanning, 825 Rolling Brook Lane, Grovetown, Georgia, 30813. We live across the street from this proposed development tract. And I had a lot more to say, but in talking with Mr. Keith this afternoon and that, I'll keep it brief. We originally opposed this development of any kind, really. He mentioned, we'd love it to stay agricultural, but we know that an open field, but that's tough. So, our desire initially was to continue with the RA zoning, keep it that way, and then develop within those parameters. But we also know the Vision 2035 and what direction that takes us in this area. So as a collection of 50-ish neighbors that live all around this, we passed out his details today, and it was a pretty resounding thumbs up for the redesign, this new concept proposal with fewer homes, one street on the edge and things like that. So, I think if you end up rezoning, this new concept that can be something we can get behind as a community and as a neighborhood that live around it. And we really appreciate the process of this over the last few weeks. Allison especially being a facilitator for us, Mr. Gary coming to that meeting, Mr. Scott, y'all really helped us understand a lot of things. So more than anything, I just want to say thank you all for this process, for the opportunity as homeowners and neighbors to be a part of this and to share our concerns. In general, we're still concerned with things like infrastructure on on Louisville Road, and we know a lot of those things are out of your hands and state and different things. We always, crime and schools and all that stuff that you guys are concerned about as well. So just continuing to make things great in Columbia County, keeping your standards high, and keeping these processes good between us and developers and you guys. I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you. You running for office? So there's any other questions or? Well, actually, we haven't read it yet. It's on you.
Make a motion to approve the request for zoning from RA to R1 for property located at tax map 0, parcel 0, subject to the condition enumerated in the January 5th, 2000. Clarification that said buffer shall be 100 foot in depth. Board of Commissioners condition development of the subject parcel is limited to 15 buildable lots.
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor, raise your right hand.
I would like to just add real quick, I don't mean to take Allison, but I appreciate her facilitating the meeting, and I appreciate all the neighbors. They had a great turnout. Keith, Had a lot of conversation back and forth and to a good, solid agreement for everybody concerned. Thank y'all for you.
Thank y'all.
Chairman, if I could, also, I know they're concerned with traffic. I want to let them know that DOT has approved working on a roundabout at Louisville, Columbia. They are working to procure their design engineer right now. They're supposed to have that done this first quarter of the year, so they'll get started on that design. So a roundabout is coming.
That was a twofer. Okay. Lee, you're still up, Commissioner Skinner.
Yes, sir. Item 12A3, make a motion to approve the request for zoning for RA, S1, property located 031A, 7, subject to the conditions enumerated in the January 15th plan.
Second.
This request basically came from wanting to move location of Horizon's towing service. They're currently authorized to have their records at their Horizon bus line. They're looking to move their office over to this location. This building here will be torn down and rebuilt for a general office building. They will be required to do some fencing. I believe if you go back a couple, you'll see the fencing. That right there. So you can see this dotted line here represents the areas they'll have to, and it goes all the way around. That fencing will have to be installed as part of this, rezoning, but it's S1 for the towing service. It's only for the vehicles, the towing vehicles. They cannot store vehicles that have been towed at this location. So, of course, the personal vehicles that are driven while they work can be stored there as well.
In addition to the fencing, they're going to do landscaping as well.
I believe so.
And there were no neighbors that you heard from that had concerns?
Questions? Motion second on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Legal matters.
No legal matters.
Request for review by committee.
No, sir.
Public comments. No executive session, so I guess there's only one thing left to do. Need one more motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. I'll raise a hammer. We're adjourned. Thank you.